love your Anthrax hat, and I was just wondering if that was new. Looks really great.
It is new. It was a Christmas present. Isn't that like the coolest Christmas
From
present in the
Sandra?
world? Well, it was from Alexander, but I did actually buy it on eBay about 3 weeks ago, thinking of our next pod, and then it turned up about a week before Christmas, and rather than getting it out the box, I basically just handed it to Alexander and said, "Hey, wrap this up and give it to me for Christmas," basically. And you know what? The funny thing is I actually, when I actually opened it on Christmas, I was kind of a million miles away and I wasn't actually aware of what I was opening. And I was like, "Oh my God, look, Anthrax cap. This is really cool." So,
Love it. Looks great.
But look, on the Christmas theme, I also got this. Let me hold it up to the camera. See if you guys are aware of this.
Oh, nice.
Any guesses?
Oh,
Faith No More.
Faith No More. Yeah. So Roddy Bottom has written a
that's
book,
right.
which I have. So I plan on reading this. I think this would be kind of interesting actually
That's
to
great.
see.
Love to hear about it once you're done.
Well, you know what? We have a podcast. I'll tell you all about it live on live. So anyway, so look, here we are. We're here for our second episode. So straight away, this puts us now, I think, in the. I'm actually kind of making these facts up, but that's okay. I think this puts us in the top sort of 10% of podcasters now because we've actually done 2 episodes. Most people only do 1.
Oh, is that right?
There's some weird. Not weird, it's not weird, but there's some statistic like that. You know, most people do 1, something like the majority of us. A few more, and then the last 10% do 2, and then it's something like only 1% ever get up to 10 or something like that. So, so I drink to Christmas, and I drink to our
Cheers.
second podcast, and I drink to 2025. What a year! What a year!
Absolutely,
Oh, man.
absolutely.
I know.
You know, I will say in preparation of this podcast, I was looking at some of the links that you gentlemen sent over, and the one that really depressed me most was the Reddit link that you sent over, Arjan.
One.
Because it just showed me how old I am and how little of the metal names of today I know. I mean, I was shocked. I mean, I just didn't know many of them.
Yeah, well, I looked at that list and thought normally I'll linger over it and kind of think about it, but I looked at it and I might as well have been reading Dutch because it just didn't mean anything to me, you know. So,
but it's interesting, guys, because I see a lot of new names, and some names were not on it. For example, the New Testament was not on it. But there's also quite a lot of releases of bands that have been around for, I don't know, decades. But that didn't make this list. So I'm hoping 2026 we're going to see some new releases.
You know,
But we'll touch on that later.
Go ahead,
go on,
Charles.
Michael.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you guys are kind of, there's this just whole subgenre of sort of metal, or you know, going right back to the 80s that you guys are kind of into. And I think you've been pretty consistent with. I mean, are there any gaps in your years where bands and albums and things came out? Because I know for me, my metal journey is, you know, as far as getting into new stuff, pretty much went up to about 1991. And then really, rather than the odd exception, it's just been revisiting really since then. But I know you, I mean, do you still get that excitement?
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
Something new coming out and hearing it for the first time?
Yeah, I was like, both new bands and bands that been away for a while, like Swiss Friend Corner. I don't know if you know, they had a new album out, and that was absolutely
say the name again.
Corner. Coroner for one.
Oh, Coroner. Okay.
Yeah, Coroner. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So talking. Okay. So you said
yes.
these albums are all going to be 40 years old next year.
Man,
And I was
so many
looking at
classics.
them. Yeah, so I was looking at them. You guys, this is where you guys kind of your knowledge just goes deeper than mine, because I'm thinking, okay, I know obviously Metallica, I know Sabbath, but I don't know that album. Megadeth, that's a great album. Ultimate Sin, I used to love. Though looking back, I don't think that's aged very well. I'm just doing mine quickly. Obviously, Priest. Yeah, hold on. You know, Queensryche. You know, I'm the token Queensryche fan, but I'm not really into that album. Slayer, of course, and that's about it. Okay, I've got the Flotsam and Jetsam album. So go on, you guys take me through this. I mean, I think we can go a bit closer as well. Hold on.
Yes. Well, you definitely know Somewhere in Time of Maiden as well, right?
Oh yes, sorry,
Yeah,
I saw that one on there as well. Okay, okay, hold on. So let's start at the top. So we got Metallica. Okay, what's this? This I haven't gone enough. Something Road, The Deluge. Do you know this album?
I'm not familiar with that one.
Vanilla Road. No, I don't know that album either. So that's an unknown for me as well.
Okay, there we go. So look, we're not off to a good start here. That's 1 out of 2. Okay, this Sabbath album, which is it?
Lucas, yeah.
Go on.
No, that's. I think that was the album, and it's also illustrated the cover really well, because I think that is only Tony Iommi from Sabbath.
That's correct.
And the rest are all hired guns with that album.
Do you know?
I think initially he did want to release this as a Black Sabbath album. He wanted to release this as a different project, but this was forced by the record label.
Yeah,
it's interesting. It's interesting though that it says featuring Tony Iommi, because obviously I think Sharon got hold of the name eventually, didn't she? So an album like that.
Yeah, but I think,
put it like this, wouldn't exist today. I don't think.
I think to Arjan's point, the management company stepped in and they said, well, it'll probably sell better if it's under the Black Sabbath banner. And I think that's why they did what they did. They never should have done that, because it's really not a Black Sabbath album. It's really Tony's album, and they should have just done a side project.
But I guess the point is, though, he wouldn't even have been able to do that now. Like, put it like this: if he tries to put out a Black Sabbath album now, Sharon's just not going to let that happen.
Yeah, I don't know who owns the name Black Sabbath. I don't know if it's Sharon who really owns it. I don't know.
It's got to be Sharon, surely. I mean, you remember when they did that world tour sort of 10 years ago, or the farewell tour 10 years ago? And we'll have to speak actually about the recent gig, but there was the whole thing about how much Bill Ward was going to get paid. Again, so Sharon was obviously in control of what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
You know? So.
But I don't know who owns the Black Sabbath name, if that's a separate LLC or if Sharon, in order to register a trademark such as that, and it can be any band name, it's got to be owned by somebody. It's just simple as that. And so either the band has to set up a LLC or some company structure that allows them to own it.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to own, or you can do it as a person, but then it's only a person, and that person will absolutely own it. But I don't think that Sharon as a person would ever own it. It might be some sort of a management company or something.
Well, you don't think Tony? I can't imagine Tony Iommi would have quite willingly given it up either, because at some point he would have had at least 25%. You would have thought.
Yeah. Plus,
of that.
They toured as Black Sabbath after Ozzy was gone, and they had Ian Gillan from Deep Purple and that Ronnie James Dio. So
yeah, but do you remember? Hold on. Do you remember? Hold on. I'm just going to escape this a minute. Look, we can go back to the screen for a bit. Do you remember? They toured with Ronnie Dio, didn't they? But they couldn't use, they used the name Heaven and Hell. They had to use Heaven and Hell because they couldn't use the name Black Sabbath.
Yeah, but the 70s albums with Dio are named under Black Sabbath, because it's Mob Rules and Heaven and Hell has Black Sabbath on it. Yeah. But I think they toured, was it in 2013 or something, just before Dio died, that they did it on Heaven and Hell because they really wanted to have it separated from the Sabbath period. So they didn't do any other songs than the Heaven and Hell period.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on purely because I'm just kind of jamming with the thing. Okay, here we go. This looks like something you guys would know. Nuclear Assault.
Dan Luker from the first bass player from Nitrates, man. That album is awesome.
It's amazing.
This is a pure trash. Yeah, it's a really good album.
Yeah, I love Nuclear Assault.
I'll tell you what. Here's what we'll do. We're going to find an album somewhere in here that I don't know, and I'm going to listen to it. And then next time we have a podcast, I'll tell you. I'll listen to it. I'll listen to it a lot, though. I'll listen to it. So it's not like I listen to it once. I'll listen to it for the next
two.
month.
I think there's two, in my opinion, that you have to really listen to.
On this list.
That one, I know Arjan is going to agree with me on. The other one, he probably is not going to agree with me on. But
go on. Who's the other one?
The first one would be Metal Church. I think this Metal Church album is just so incredible. Has never been replicated. Just everything came together so brilliantly. I mean, the singer, his voice was just absolutely pitch perfect for the band and the guitars, and they were able to put so many either faster songs and calmer songs, and it just worked. I think it's one of the best albums in metal from back in the days. But how do you feel about Metal Church, Arjan?
Yeah, this one is this the one that has Let the Children Pray?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a brilliant album.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I listened to it, but it's a fantastic album.
Yeah, and then the other
all the Metal Church albums, by the way, from the 80s are brilliant.
And then the other one, Charles, is right next to it, and I'm a little embarrassed.
Ozzy.
No. But I'm a little embarrassed to admit that I didn't discover that album when it came out. It was in a later stage that I discovered it. And I will tell you, if you have any heart palpitations or anything, do not listen to this album because it's fast. Yeah. It's really fast. And I catch myself because I love listening to this album, especially when I'm working and I have to really focus. And most people will listen to this album and go, there's no way anybody can focus. But for me, it works really well. It has like a certain frequency in my brain that just fits. But I will not sit still. My legs are like I'm doing double bass nonstop. But I just think it's such a underrated album in the trash scene. Do we still call this trash? I think it's still solid trash,
it's
right?
Still, yeah, this is trash.
And it just...
What else would you call it? If it wasn't thrash, what would you call it?
Maybe speed metal, maybe speed trash. I mean, because it's fast. It really is fast. And Sodom Burns is just... that song is just brilliant. And I know that they just went on tour like maybe a couple of months ago and with a new singer, but he's pretty brilliant. And they just did this album. And I so wish I could have gone to that show because it's, I mean, Darkness Descends, to me, there's just like a handful of thrash metal albums that are just so brilliant in my world. This one, SOD, I mean, I think it's one of the most brilliant trash albums ever.
I think that one's down there, isn't it? Isn't that at the bottom?
I didn't see. I saw Destruction. Some good German. I think you saw Creator.
What's this album?
Sodom.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, I'm thinking of close to SOD.
Yeah, no, that's another German. Actually, yeah, it's surprised to see the number of, because you have Destruction, you have Sodom, then Creator was on here as well, which are all German bands, and I think we should do just a podcast focused on German thrash because they brought some really good thrash music onto the scene.
Yeah. If you take the Sodom and Creator, I think Creator for me is my personal favorite. But if you would add Tankard, you would have the big four German thrash.
Yeah.
God, hold on. What are the big four of German thrash then?
So that Creator, Destruction, Sodom, and Tankard.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. You guys go dark and deep with this stuff. What's this album? It's got no...
Possessed.
That's Possessed, yeah.
That's the second album from Possessed.
Yeah. Their first album
Interesting
was
enough.
absolutely brilliant. Still, I think.
Yes.
What is the song that has the satanic intro, which is
Oh,
just
oh, that's
absolutely.
good. Yeah. Was it,
Okay. And then we got Saint Virus. Is that?
that's a doom metal band.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never even heard of these guys. I
Yeah,
don't
that's
know
a
them
great
at all.
album. It's in Fighters. And also on the bottom you have Candlemass. That's another doom metal
Yeah.
band on the Queensryche.
Okay.
And I like Candlemass. I
Swedish.
never got into Saint Virus. I just didn't. But Candlemass was pretty good early days.
Yeah.
Now we skipped over King Diamond's album there.
Oh my God.
I was saving that one.
This was their.
Yeah.
This was his first solo album, right?
Yeah, but it still had some guys from
Merciful
Merciful
Fate.
Fate in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's still had yeah, that's again a brilliant.
It really is, and he's still touring, and quite a lot.
Yes, and a new album next year.
Oh, is that right?
So that's a good. Yeah.
Oh,
And he probably looks exactly the same because he had that makeup on, didn't he? So he doesn't age.
Yeah, age doesn't
I think
matter.
It's the same.
One of the
Yeah.
best vocalists in metal, I think.
He's good. I
Do you
agree.
think? Okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Okay, what about this one, the Sepultura? Is that Sepultura?
Yeah, Morbid Visions. It's okay. It's I think it's their debut album. Its production is it's a classic because it's the first of Sepultura, but it's not the best. I think here they really try to I wouldn't say imitate, but there's a lot of influence from the like Venom and Slayer in it.
Okay.
Okay. So I think
And-
later albums they have a more their own sound.
Yeah.
Sorry
Okay.
if I upset any Sepultura fans.
And here we got Crimson Glory.
Yeah, you I think you will like that. They're
I remember them.
yeah,
I
they're a
don't-
little bit
It's a little
they're
less
around-
heavy. That's why he's saying that, Charles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
I'm
that's a
the
little bit-
resident. I'm
Yeah.
the resident glam expert here. See, I need a list of albums by Poison and Faster Pussycat and Dokken.
Oh, no.
Those are the albums I need. You know?
Crimson Glory, I would compare to like Queensryche in that same
Yeah.
style.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, I'm going to close this. Actually, what are you guys
What?
actually seeing? Are you seeing just a screen, or can you see me or each other? Because all I'm seeing is a screen right now.
Oh yeah, we
I can see the
see
screen
everybody
and-
on the side as well as the screen. So it's really not
Oh,
an
do you?
insight. Yeah. This is almost
Okay,
like
that's interesting
what I do is
because I can't see you.
Yeah, well, because you don't have a double screen, that's why. So what I do is screen. When I do a screen share, for example, for like a conference call, then that's exactly
Yeah.
what this looked like. But
And Charles,
okay.
you
There we
clicked
go.
away, but one of the albums that you forgot on that list was Motorhead Orgasmatron. That is
Oh
actually
yeah.
one
Yeah.
of the best albums of
Yeah.
Motorhead from that era.
so one of the questions that I basically had is, the state of metal for old geezers like us, right? And are we holding on to 40, 50 years ago? Have we
I
become
think
that?
I am.
Yeah, have we become that get off my lawn generation now, which is a very sad conclusion to come to. But then you bring it back to Black Sabbath and the Ozzy Farewell concert, and is that kind of the beginning? Does that mark the beginning of the end of old school metal?
No.
Well, so that's the question, right? Are we seeing new bands coming up that are not in? Because again, I go back to your list that you sent over, Arjan, and it's like groove metal, metalcore, post-hardcore, thrash metal, melodic death metal, alternative metal, mathcore, progressive death metal, depressive black metal, black gaze, beat down hardcore. I can't figure this.
Clowncore. You didn't say clowncore. No.
There's a lot. Doom gaze, black gaze, all that stuff that I it's like, okay, where I can't keep up with that.
Does Melanie know you're hanging out on these sites?
She's like, go away, go do your thing. But
do you know? I'll tell you what's funny when you mention is it some kind of new era. I also remember when Ronnie Dio died, which was how long ago was that now? 10, 15 years ago? 20?
Yeah, 2015, I think, something like that.
And I jokingly say, I mean, you don't want to make joke of anyone's death, but I jokingly say he was actually the first heavy metal star or legend or whatever who actually just simply died of old age. There wasn't anything kind of
well, he died of cancer, so I don't.
Yeah, but age, but yeah, okay, yeah, he did, and obviously that afflicts people of all ages. But it was kind of associated with him sort of getting older as well. It was almost, I don't know, maybe I just created that in my head, and that's not the case at all.
I think he was. I think he was. I mean, a lot of guys that died before died of either substance abuse or whatever kind of.
Well, exactly. It wasn't rock and roll.
Or an accident, like Randy Rhoads, crashing his plane and that kind of stuff.
I think that was my point, actually. You've actually just corrected me. Thank you. That was the point. It wasn't a sort of rock and roll death, was it? It was just...
and he was only 67.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you know what? Well, I was going to say 15 years ago, 67 seemed a lot older than it does now. So maybe that...
For real, man.
So maybe that's another reason I was thinking that as well.
Yeah.
So... Yeah, but talking of this, I've got this actually top of my list here. Rob Reiner getting murdered by his son in Los Angeles. I mean, getting okay, so the guy made probably the greatest heavy metal film ever, arguably. Well, not arguably, I think it is. And he got stabbed. I mean, this sounds like a Swedish death metal kind of thing or something. You got stabbings and metal. Rob Reiner. So, that was kind of a bit shocking. But, Arjan, you actually saw Spinal Tap 2, the new movie.
Yeah, I guess for me, playing guitar, having played in bands, not to the level, where some of the great guys you're talking when they do a reference to Spinal Tap. Like, there's a lot of bands that actually thought that Spinal Tap was based on them. They all have stories, they're like Judas Priest and all those bands. They said okay, but so the first Spinal Tap movie for me is like it's like the Bible, It's also so when they said they're gonna release a second one, I really wanted to have that cinema experience, and so I went, and it was funny. I think I went on Wednesday afternoon at 4 p.m. But there was still a few people in the cinema in the room, and it's a great fun movie. Don't compare it to the first one. I think that's a trap. But that's a lot of funny. It had a lot of cameos in it. I mean, Paul McCartney shows up and a few others. Super fun. I would definitely recommend it to watch it. I do think it's funnier if you understand the music industry a little bit, because then it just hits more home, I guess. It's more like it was fun. I would give it a solid 7.5.
Okay.
I don't think it's
good.
It's a fun movie. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't want to do any spoilers or anything, but does
the volume go up to 12 instead of 11?
Yeah.
No. Okay, so that okay. One spoiler: it goes up to infinity. So that's a new one in there. So we have this end to go to, and I think the end was super funny. What happens? So definitely worth seeing it. Then, of course, the tragic news of Rob. Not only as somebody who is responsible for these movies, but he did a lot of other interesting stuff.
I was amazed at some of the other movies he did, which I hadn't realized, like When Harry Met Sally comes to mind. But what's really interesting about the Spinal Tap thing is, so his first movie he ever did was Spinal Tap, and the last movie he ever did was the Spinal Tap 2.
Yeah.
So,
is that right?
Talk about bookending your career.
Oh wow,
that's kind of really really crazy. But you know what? It's just really tragic though. I feel so sorry for his son. I mean, what his son must be going through, because obviously he was possessed or on drugs or something was going on. But to now be sort of in prison, going sort of cold turkey or whatever, and realizing you've killed your mum and dad. Oh my God. It's just, it's just horrific. It really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, it's I mean, this is a tragic story, and also that I don't think we should. I don't want to turn this into a political thing, but the fact that Donald Trump just
oh
went
my
over
God,
it because it was horrible.
that
And
was,
I don't care which side of the political spectrum you are. I say you should
no.
always have respect for others. So yeah, that was also
that
another thing.
That was it was utterly disgusting. So it did make me think though, Spinal Tap, and Spinal Tap was a very important film in my life. I mean, probably because it was metal, really, but it was. But it did make me think: what are the best metal films that have ever been made?
Oh, that's a good. There's this very funny. I don't know the title of it, but it's actually they also released a second one about this Swedish black metal death metal band, and they the first movie is they want to play they want to play in Wacken, this used German festival.
Okay, yeah. Was that the one with the mud we were looking at clips of a few months ago? It rained and there was loads of mud. Everyone was kind of traipsing through trenches. Anyway,
and it's a very very funny movie. I'm quickly looking if I can find the title of it. That's a really funny movie. And then, but for rest, as far as metal music, yeah, that's a good one. I mean, you have it's not really metal, but you have Wayne's World, which had like Ozzy in it and kind of stuff.
Okay, well, yeah, I count that as metal. Okay, I'll give you some movies that I think are as good as Spinal Tap 2, or they were important to me for similar reasons. Anvil, the story of Anvil.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that film was just so funny and so brilliant. It just made me laugh.
Yeah.
Some Kind of Monster, Metallica.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that's like a documentary, but it's still a film, had a cinematic release.
Yeah.
God, you guys, didn't you love that film? I'm not getting the energy and the love coming here. That was just amazing. That film.
I really like Some Kind of Monster, but I appreciate that Metallica was very open in it because they show their vulnerabilities and they show their frustration. Even the fact that they go to see Jason play again with was it
Echo something.
Echo Brain. Echo,
yeah.
So that showed. I thought that was cool to see. But it's not.
I kind of like
something I rewatched. I don't. That was also cool. But
okay, we'll put it like this: I've probably seen that film about 5, if not 10 times. So it's definitely something I rewatched. Yeah, I just thought. Okay. I mean, I think the music in it was terrible. It was definitely their worst album. I think it was. I don't know.
Was that the Saint Anger album?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, with the heavy snare drum. Look,
something like that.
Look, I'm all for therapy, mental wellness, all of that, right? But I don't think it showed the band in a manner that I had kind of built them up in my head, and so some things I think are best kept indoors, right? I don't know if that laundry needed to be aired in front of the whole world. But that's just my. I don't dislike it per se, but I just didn't do anything for me.
Okay, yeah. For me, I actually thought that was a positive thing. I really like that, but it's not for me a movie like Spinal Tap that I want to rewatch. That's more the thing because because it's a documentary kind of style. Maybe that's the reason why.
But it has. I mean, it kind of is like Spinal Tap, though. So you've got Lars Ulrich's dad there, dressed in this sort of guru robes, saying, "Oh, I think you need more reverb." And there's Lars Ulrich getting really like, "What do you mean more reverb? What, everything needs more reverb?" So there's obviously a father-son thing going on. You've got Kirk Hammett trying to write lyrics. It's just brilliant. It's just so many funny moments. Okay,
now, have you guys seen Metal Lords?
No.
It came out in
Is that about that kid at school? The
Yes,
school,
came out in
yeah,
2022.
school. Yeah.
Watch
Oh,
that.
not at all.
That is actually a
Metal
Metal Lords.
Lord.
Yeah.
Lord. Yeah.
S plural.
S. And this is fiction. This is like a film.
It's a film.
Drama,
it's just
a drama.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of comedy drama. It's this teenager that drummer. Well, he's not a drummer yet when it starts out, but he's kind of finding its way, and then he gets sucked in by this guitar player in full, death makeup, and it shows the trials and tribulations of being a good friend and being loyal, and there's a lot of going on. But in there's some cameos by some metal folks as well. I think, is it Tom Arya? Is it Rob Halford? There's several metal people that make a appearance in that movie, which I enjoyed that movie personally. I thought it was great.
Yeah, but that was a cool movie. I remember.
Is it American?
Yeah, it's American. I think it's on Netflix or something like that.
Oh, I'll have to check it
Yeah,
out.
you'll love it.
I will. Okay, my other film was, do you remember The Decline of Western Civilization, Part 2?
Mm.
You might even remember Part 1. Well, obviously you don't. Okay, so it was that, I think actually, God, you know what? I should know this since we're kind of on a podcast and we're meant to be experts in our field. But it might even have been, who's the name of the woman who made Wayne's World? It might have been her who made it. Philippa something. Maybe it was her. Anyway, she did a documentary in 1980 about the LA punk scene called The Decline of Western Civilization Part 1. And it's all about LA punk bands, which I never saw, but then I was never really I wouldn't have seen. But then she did Part 2 about 6-7 years later, and that's more about LA, sort of more glammy. It's got like Faster Pussycat in it, Wasp, Blackie Lawless there in it. And I remember really liking that film, Whether it stood the test of time or worth watching now, I don't know. But it does still I notice it comes up near the top of lists if you type in sort of metal films. It is there. So, but yeah, so I think that film, Part 2, Spinal Tap, Metallica, and Anvil. Yeah, those are my top 4. Those are my big 4.
What about?
That's my big 4.
Okay. What about The Wire? The Motley Crue.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Yes.
I mean, I thought it obviously Motley Crue. We can debate that of where it fits, if that's more glam metal or
no, that's metal.
But at the same time, I thought the movie was well done.
Do you know what? Yeah. Do you know what? I wasn't even thinking it was a movie. I was thinking it was like a TV miniseries. But you're right; it was one episode, wasn't it? So, yeah. And I've actually been listening recently to. I've been listening to the Eddie Trunk show, actually, and he's interviewed on it in recent times both Vince Neil and Nikki Sixx. And that movie's been mentioned both times, and it's made me think I should really watch this film again, because I've only saw it once when it came out. I need to watch it with Sandra or something, just give me another reason to watch it. But I remember it being fun. I'll tell you what was really good was that show that came out, I don't know if it's on Netflix, but Pam and Tommy, about that drama about Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee. It was like eight point. It was I actually watched that twice. I watched it once.
I only know the nature documentary that they made together.
Oh, the nature documentary. Well, I know she's really into her animal. Okay, yeah, okay, no, okay, so this is it though. So did you guys ever see Boogie Nights? You know that film?
Yes,
yes.
Okay,
Awesome.
So it's filmed kind of like that. It's got that kind of vibe to it. This Pam and Tommy, and it's actually about the sex tape. That's basically what it's about. It's about this, and it goes through the whole disgruntled gardener bit and the whole.
What we're concluding here, Charles, is that you enjoy drama, and therapy sessions of celebrities. That's our takeaway here.
Exactly.
I tell you, listen to the Dark Angel Darkness Descents album. Will really help you avoid any therapy. It will get you just directly into the madhouse.
Oh, you know what? We didn't. Is that the one? Because we didn't decide what album I'm going to listen to for the next few weeks. That was the one, the 1986
Well,
Dark Angel.
I'll pick one, and then Arjan needs to pick one. So you have to do two. I would say it's hard because well, I personally really like Dark Angel's album. I will say that I think the Metal Church album is one that it's a must know. If you're in metal, if you want to do anything in metal, that album needs to be in your playlist.
I do remember back in the 80s, I would watch like Headbangers Ball or something on MTV or whatever metal you could find, because there weren't a lot of shows out there. But I do remember every now and then a Metal Church video would pop up. Now, whether that was from the 1986 album or not, I don't know. But I guess I never felt the need to buy it or check it out. But I will.
Yeah, listen to it. It's a fantastic album. If I had to pick two, I would pick 100% Creator Pleasure to Kill. I love that album. And I would pick maybe Candlemass, Africa's Doom.
That one is good too.
Okay, so I asked you guys to pick one album, and between you came up with four.
Well, so
albums.
Arjan, you take your top.
What
pick.
about Somewhere in Time? I'm just going to go and listen to Somewhere in Time.
No, Somewhere in Time, which is good. Don't get me wrong; it's a great album. But I'm going to say put Metal Church on your playlist, and then Arjan, you need to pick one.
But then I would say Creator.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree on that one.
Yeah.
All right, I will give it a go. And I will
But going back to the movies, that Swedish movie that I mentioned, it's called Heavy Trip and Heavier Trip. See if you can get it. It's very funny. But I think two movies that I definitely need to mention is was it Murder on the Front Row, which is about the San Francisco Bay Area trash, accidents. That's a fantastic documentary. It's about the club that was there. It was very famous. Was called Roses or something. And all the bands would play there. So you would have Slayer on Monday, and on Tuesday you would have Megadeth, and on Wednesday you would have Exodus. So that's one you need to follow. And I think if you talk about movies, comedy, I actually think what's that movie with Jack Black? The Pick of Destiny, Tenacious D.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah, first of all, Tenacious D. It starts with Meatloaf and Ronnie James Dio, as cameos. So you definitely have to do that. And I think it's super funny because it talks about this guitar pick, that all the greats like Eddie Van Halen and Angus Young and all this Randy Rhoads and all these guys played. So I think that's a super funny movie.
Well,
and I've seen Tenacious D live in Amsterdam. That was so funny. That show, seeing them live. That was,
no.
Oh, you saw that?
Yeah. I saw perform there, and they have songs like everything. There was it metal, all these metal tunes like these, and I think Jack Black is actually a great singer too. So
he was in that. He was singing some piano ballad in the last Mario or Donkey Kong movie or whatever. I know this because I saw it with Alexander. And it was just bloody amazing, the song he was doing. It was like, whoa. I mean, completely over the top, but it was like, whoa. Yeah.
Actually, that might be a good bridge to the next topic, because he also did, was it Mr. Crowley for the Black Sabbath tribute.
Yeah.
He did a video.
He did?
He didn't perform,
Yeah,
with the kids playing.
But didn't he?
Yes, exactly.
Didn't he also introduce Ozzy into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I think that was Jack Black as well. So, I mean, he knows his metal. Okay. He knows his metal for certain.
Yeah. And he did School of Rock. That's It's
I'll tell you.
Rock.
Talking of the Sabbath and people knowing their metal, I was Jason Momoa, who was like the host. I didn't realize he was like a metalhead. But he was the host, and he was actually down moshing with the people at the front at one point. So I gather, You know, how much of that was sort of a photo shoot, you know, a moment. I'll get down there and people will be talking about this. But it felt quite good because you see so many people today who are just, you know, these buff guys with their long hair and their tribal tattoos. And you just think, God, you look metal. But they're not at all. Whereas Jason Momoa actually is. He is. He kind of.
Well, there's also the other actor.
And he is
what's his name? He's like, I think he's a Mexican, like Javier Herbin or something like that. I mean, if you Bardem, there you go.
Javier Bardem.
I think you guys, if you see a picture, you know. But he's like a big metalhead priest, and
is he?
Yeah. And he goes to concerts. He was at a Priest concert, just completely going bonkers in a good way, and but. So interestingly, and you know, in my everyday life, I don't deal with a lot of metalheads per se, right? But I've noticed in the last year that, and it's all Generation X, and let's face it, we're all Xers on the video here, and Xers. You had the baby boomers who stayed in power way too long. And they just didn't want to hand over the baton, and now it's time to hand it over because they're, you know, simply dying, basically. But they're handing it over to millennials. So the X generation, we're the forgotten generation, right? And we continue to be forgotten. But interestingly, it seems like I'm meeting more and more people of our age that are just finally are like, fuck it. You know, I've lived a long life already. I got nothing to lose, and I'm wearing my Dio shirt or my metal shirt, whatever the band is, and I don't care if you judge me or not. This is, you know, I'm done being a good professional. I'm just doing my own thing, and I love that. I think it's fantastic that I'm seeing more and more people just embracing, you know, who they were as a kid, basically.
Yeah, well, I mean, kind of Iron Maiden brought it back. You know, these people wearing Iron Maiden T-shirts. There's also a sort of fashion statement built in there as well, isn't there? You know?
Yeah, you see it with some people.
Yeah, at some point. Yeah. At some point, you see the Iron Maiden T-shirts and the AC/DC and the Rolling Stone. That, I don't know, you see them at a standard, you know, the Dillard's or the Target or whatever. You know, so yeah. But that's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, you know what? There's nothing wrong with it as long as the artists are getting something from it. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, who was it? I read something the other day. Gary Holt was basically saying all we are nowadays is, you know, we play a show to sell some shirts. Because the tour, you know, all the money that comes from ticket sales is, you know, goes toward the tour, all the expenses, etc. So they really don't make any money at the end of the day from a tour. It comes from buying T-shirts. And I was talking to somebody on Friday that, you know, back in our day, what, $20-$25, and you had a tour shirt, right? Now it's like double, like $40, $45, $50 for a tour shirt. And at first, I'm like, oh my God, that's a lot of money for a shirt. But if you then take in consideration that if that truly goes to the band, obviously taking the cost out of it, of the shirt, the printing, and all that stuff, and it's like, all right, well, if that's how they're going to make their money, it's well worth it at the end.
Yeah, they're not making any money anymore of record sales, right? There's no money. I mean, if you, I think like back then when you sold one CD and you now have to do that in streams, you have to have like 15,000 streams or something like that. Just for one single CD. So there's no money in streams. And touring got like especially after COVID, got like double or triple the price now. The problem only is, and I agree with you, Michael, I don't care if the shirt is $50, but the problem is it's, you know, the ticket is expensive, right? Then you have to pay the parking, which is expensive. Then you order a beer, which is like $20, you know. And at some point, people are not buying the shirts anymore because it's just too much. Or they don't go to see any shows anymore because it's too expensive.
As a quick aside, did I tell you I went to see, I don't think I did, because we don't talk about anything other than metal. I went to see the LA Rams play about a year ago or so.
Okay.
It was $70 for the ticket. It was $100 for parking.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Which is
That's
ridiculous.
That's stupid.
Which is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it's crazy.
It is.
Well, but
I mean, I didn't pay it. I parked a mile away and walked.
But our Maiden tickets were $140, and then it's another at least $30, if not $35 to park. And then,
is that all? That's pretty cheap, actually.
well, but still, the tickets were $140, and then remember, the beer was $21 a pop, so
Exactly.
$63 for 3 beers. It's ridiculous, right?
Talking of the Maiden gig, I was going to mention because obviously I'm here. If anyone's watching, we're all going to go and see Iron Maiden at the BMO Stadium, which should be interesting because I've never been there. In LA in September, and you guys are flying in for it. So I was thinking I would drive there probably. So I don't know if you guys want to kind of get to Venice or stay around Venice or do something, because we could all go in. There'd be 4 of us, weren't there? We could all drive.
Yeah, that would make sense to get like a.
And I was gonna buy the parking in advance, basically, because for some reason I'm guessing it's probably cheaper if you get it in advance, maybe, or I don't believe.
Yeah, we can figure something out.
So that's our thousands of fans listening online don't want to hear our logistics about getting to an Iron Maiden concert, even though John Cougar Mellencamp famously said the best part about a concert is getting to it. I'm not quite sure what he means, but I like the quote. So, yeah.
Well,
and also,
also
that's a conversation killer.
Well, I think it's the leading up to, right? I mean, because we know we're not going until September, but chances are we're going to talk about it many times over the next 10 months. In some form or shape that we will come up, and then probably a couple of weeks out, it's like, all right, do we want to know the playlist? Yes, no, and then me, yes, and then I'm going to put together an Apple Music, all the songs in one
playlist.
Yeah, so it does create. Does it have the same feeling as when we were in our teens and 20s? Probably not, but it's still, I mean, look, at the end of the day, and it goes back to the albums that you just had on the screen that are now 40 years old. Can we just give a massive props to all these amazing musicians that have been playing for 40 years? And let's face it, when new metal came in, all the old school metal bands got their lunch eaten. And then, what was it? Not alternative, but grunge came in, right? And the moment grunge came in, everything was done. When Nirvana and Pearl Jam were at their peak, there was no metal. I mean, they were eating bologna sandwiches of the cheapest kind to kind of power through it. And I'm sure a lot of them had to find side gigs and things to do. And then, going back to Anvil even, right? That was pretty much their entire career, and they never gave up. I mean, you gotta give it to these guys. Outside of everything that they've done, the joy they've given crazy people like the 3 of us, you gotta give them so much props for being tenacious, for just pushing through it. I think it's just absolutely, something that I don't think we show enough gratitude towards these musicians, because it's not an easy life at all.
Yeah,
I guess it comes down to what are they going to do if they're not in a band doing that.
Wow.
Like if you're the drummer in Anvil, what do you do if you're not drumming in Anvil? Nothing against the drummer in Anvil, of course.
If you want to stay in music, a lot of the guys. So I had the pleasure to work 8 years in the music industry, and a lot of these guys have jobs like they demo products, or they work for music equipment manufacturers, and if that's not a possibility, they teach, or they and nowadays you see a lot of them, they have like a YouTube channel, or they do something like that, because there's not much. I mean, I don't think the guys from Maiden are complaining, right? That's not wrong with them.
No.
But don't forget, like, even if you would look at that album list of bands that released albums 40 years ago, at least half of them are still active. I swear. If I'm going
Yeah.
list, probably half of them are still active. But not many of them made really big money. Like the money like
Yeah.
enough to live on. So a lot of them already had like side hustles, jobs, and everything like that. And that Anvil actually it's a great movie, but it's also a little bit
It
depressing because
is.
you see how they were struggling, and because of that movie, they made some money. But everything before that was just
Yeah, well, it kind of revitalized their career, didn't it? But there's that
it
one
did,
scene.
yeah.
There's that one scene in the movie, isn't there, when they're playing some club somewhere in Eastern Europe, somewhere,
Yes,
I think,
somewhere
and
Prague or something like
and
that.
they're
Yeah, I
trying to get
remember.
paid, and the promoters basically just not paying them.
Yeah,
It's just really,
Right, but
and
oh,
then
it's one thing to
yeah,
do that, you guys. I just give it some thought here, but it's one thing to do that in your 20s, right? And to do
mm,
that for 10 years. But then you become an adult and society will tell you to get a job. This is not going anywhere, blah, 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 blah. And yet they powered through it, right? They just
mm,
kept on going. And there's no pension plan. There's not a lot of money. There's not, and they're trying to have a
mm,
family, right? And I'm sure that when they're at home, try to figure out how to get their next paycheck, basically, that their wives or their loved one, be it male or female, goes, well, maybe it's time to find a different job, right? To get that peer pressure, right? I think if you look at the story of Anthrax, for example, Dan Spitz, I think he's like a clock watch maker at this point in
oh,
time.
is
Yeah,
he?
he's that's why he's no longer in the band. When the whole grunge scene came in, metal just went completely silent, right? There's still, of course, some
Wow. Okay, I
corners
didn't
in,
know
in,
that.
in Europe, but in the
oh yeah.
US, it was pretty much done for a while.
Uh,
There's stories of Ronnie James Dio in the 90s, so that he was playing for like 300 to 500 people max. And we're talking about Ronnie James Dio. We're not even talking
yeah,
about the.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's absolutely right. A lot of
yeah,
them find careers. That's also interesting that you see these bands like Van Cohen who came back after 30 years to do an album again. I think they do it because now they don't care about the financial. Probably they have kids and they're grown up or whatever, and they can start the band again because the financial pressure is gone.
uh,
But for a lot of them, even when you mentioned Jerry Holt before, Michael, um, he was a Slayer, but he was a hired gun, right? So he has no songwriting credits or
Right.
anything. Of course, he has Exodus, but Exodus, as far as album sales, is nothing
No.
compared to that. So he actually makes money doing like clinics for ESP guitars, for example. That's where he makes money, which is crazy to think about. He's Gary Holt, one of the founders of thrash metal.
Well, and I will say, and this is where I give a lot of credit to Metallica, because I believe when they pulled in Robert Trujillo, they made him a full 25% member of
oh,
the
did they?
band. I believe so. Maybe somebody's going to
Yeah,
correct us if they listen to this and they go, you guys
Uh,
have absolutely no fucking idea what you're talking about. But I believe that's the case.
uh,
I think he got a pretty nice sign-on bonus. Like I think it was $1 million, but then they were also going to, and again, I don't know if that happened, but hopefully it did happen. I also, some of the things that I see is, because you have some bands that are saying, hey, look, I wrote all the songs, so I should get all the credit, right? And he or she who wrote the song is at the end of the day the person that's going to make the most money off of it. But I see more and more bands saying, you know what? Let's just split it equally between all band members, right? And so you start seeing some songs are changing their writing credits to all 4 or 5 or however many band members there are. And at the end of the day, I think that's the right thing to do, right? Because just because you wrote the lyrics, let's
mm,
even Maiden, right? It's mainly Steve Harris that writes the lyrics. But without Bruce Dickinson, well, those lyrics wouldn't mean the things that they do now. Or without
mm,
Dave Murray, did I say that correct? No, Dave Murray. All right,
Murray.
yeah.
Yeah,
Dave
Murray.
Murray. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
without his guitars or Adrian Smith, Maiden wouldn't be Maiden without the sound.
Exactly.
So it's not just the lyrics that should get rewarded for a song, because that's not what a song is all about. And so those bands that are saying, hey, you know what? I recognize your contribution, even though it's not through lyrics, it's through the sound or the music. I think that's just the right thing to do, personally.
Yeah. I'm now thinking about Axl Rose, because I know he runs a tight ship with Guns N' Roses. I don't know. Again, I'm speaking from ignorance here. I don't know. In fact, I get a feeling that, say, Duff Rhodes McKagan and Slash are actually just well-paid members of that band now. They're not actually albeit important.
It's interesting. I don't know the dynamics with Guns N' Roses either, because it's an okay band for me. That's
I knew where you were going with that one, Arjan.
But in the 80s it was even worse, because it's not just, so let's say 100%, you write a song, you get 100%. It's not only the lyrics that's like 50%, and then the music gets divided by 50%, but then also the person who plays it on the record, and a lot goes to management. But nowadays, like I said, because there's no money in streaming, like bringing out an album, you're gonna lose. Most bands will tell you that bring out albums, they lose money on recording it in the studio, and producer cost and distribution cost and everything. They just lose money.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's an interesting question, Charles. Like for Guns N' Roses, is it Axl who actually has the money, or is it? I would have to go back to the records.
Well, what's also interesting, if you think about it, Guns N' Roses toured just with Axl Rose for sort of a number of years before Slash came back, but Slash's return actually coincided with Slash divorcing his wife. And this is his second wife, or maybe first wife, I don't know. But he divorced his wife, and it was the wife who he hadn't signed a prenuptial marriage agreement with. And so they split up. I guess she basically took whatever, half or whatever. And it was literally within weeks or months of that he was back in Guns N' Roses. So it's kind of obvious what happened there, isn't it? Okay, look, take it a stage further. Oasis, okay? So Noel Gallagher didn't play, that the Oasis didn't get together for like 15 years, I think.
Something like that. Yeah.
They'd been together. Okay, so what happened last year? What happened at the beginning of, what happened 12 months ago? I'll tell you what happened 12 months ago. Noel Gallagher and his wife of the last 15 years or so, 20 years, split up. And he had to pay her tens of millions of dollars, so I understand, in the settlement. And look, what happens a month or so later? Oh my God, Oasis are getting back together and doing a stadium tour. So
Charles, what you're basically saying, if there's a band that we like that has been split up years ago, we just need to wreck one of the guys' marriages, and then they get back together again.
Yes. That's all we need to do. We need to target the wife. That's what we need to do.
But it is interesting here, because I just mentioned song lyrics and music, right? But then you bring up Guns N' Roses, and I would say that of that band, the most iconic figure in that band is Slash. And so,
with his top hat,
his whole vibe, right? His whole setup, which I think you can make a really strong case from a branding perspective. And you guys know I'm in the branding business, but from a branding perspective, that played a key part in the whole image of, I think even more so than Axl Rose, in the making of Guns N' Roses. So I guess to me, it just shows the complexity of a brand that is a band, right? Whomever it is. And you can even take it to something in a completely different genre, like hip hop, right? If you take Public Enemy. So it's Chuck D that is the front man. But if you ask people, well,
Flavor Flav.
Exactly. Who do you know about Public Enemy is Flavor Flav.
With the clocks.
Exactly. So don't underestimate all the ingredients that come together for a full brand vibe that is more than lyrics, music, is also visual. Even with Maiden. Who do we know? That guy over there, Eddie, right? I mean, it's this guy here. I mean, it's again, really critical to take all those facets into consideration and think about it. So who was the illustrator? I think Derek Riggs.
Derek Riggs.
Yeah. So he's been doing this for decades. I'm sure he's done fine, right? But he hasn't done Maiden fine. But it's all his artwork on T-shirts and everything he has done, but he's not Maiden fine. And again, I'm not saying that the members of Maiden are beyond wealthy, right? Because I don't think that works that way in the metal community. And every penny that they made is beyond well deserved for all of them. But again, Eddie was such it still is a critical component of the Maiden brand. And in fact, let me finish one more point. I will even make a claim here that so when you look at bands that have done well, and then Metallica, I would say, is a bit of a anomaly. But in general, when you have like Maiden, you have Eddie. Guns N' Roses, you have Slash, right? You have these iconic elements that create a certain vibe for that brand. And then when you look at, like, for example, Judas Priest, I mean, I think some of the Judas Priest album covers were even better than anybody else's. Like Defenders of the Faith, I mean, fuck, that is an amazing album cover. Or Screaming for Vengeance.
Yeah.
But there was no consistency. So that consistency of that same thing, the top hat, right? Always the top hat, always Eddie. That consistency over time, don't underestimate that. That is a key component of brand building.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's also what I wanted to add to this is the musician point of view on this. Is I 100% agree with Michael. As from a marketing and branding, it's important. But for example, I think why Guns N' Roses hasn't released anything decent is simply because the biggest musical driver in that band was Izzy. He was the one who wrote all the shit, and he left. So Izzy Stradlin. So he was maybe not the face of the band, but it was definitely the musical genius vibe. And it's kind of the same. Like if you take AC/DC, Angus is the brand, right? He's the guy with the shoe. But it was Malcolm who did all the stuff. Yeah. Don't forget, Malcolm was the musical director in that band. And that's also why sometimes you see these bands being not successful anymore, because people mix the branding and the musical geniuses. Those can be separate. I mean, if you wouldn't know Maiden well, you would not think that the bass player is the most important guy. You know what I mean? You would think it's Bruce, but that's not it. But then on the other hand, when Bruce left, they were also completely lost. I mean, Blaze on itself was not a bad singer, but he was not Bruce. You know what I mean? So that's the problem.
Well, I think with Maiden, they have Maiden. I think is a really interesting case, right? They kept their they evolved, but they didn't really evolve. They always had that galloping sound. And as a result, because they stayed relatively consistent with their musical, formula, it was just a matter of moments before they could figure out that, okay, Bruce needs to be back, right? Because it's just so intertwined. If they would have gone on a more drastic evolution, they could have done different things, but because they didn't, and they kind of stuck themselves in that box, that's where it became very apparent. Otherwise, they would have been able to get away with it. But
Yeah, and I think that's also fair when you compare it to Three Strokes. Yeah, Three Strokes, of course, a band that was already recording, like, was it the first album, 73,
yeah,
74, something like that? It's the first album.
Mm.
But it took them much longer to develop their
yeah,
sound, their style, and then I think they made the mistake to want to be more appealing to the American audience, so they changed their sound in the 80s. I mean, they had an amazing Screaming for Vengeance that, that was for me the
oh yeah,
peak. And then
Mm.
suddenly they decided to change everything. And Maiden also changed it, but with way little steps, It was it's always Maiden, and it had a little bit of guitar synthesizer somewhere in time, but it was still Maiden.
yeah.
And I think that's also, so in combination with that consistency of branding and logos and mascots and all that stuff. I think that is a big
Consistency
that
of
I think that
execution.
even with Metallica, the logo Metallica, everybody knows that
Oh,
logo.
Yeah,
yeah.
consistency
Yeah.
of execution is absolutely key over years, decades, you name it. It's the cornerstone of branding. And this is why brands don't get built over a year or two or three. It's continuously sledging through like mud in order to get there. But those that do and that are consistent about it, and again, you look at the Maiden albums, it's very consistent and predictable as to what that cover is going to look like, right? Each and every one.
What did Judas Priest covers look like sort of now or in the 90s or the early 2000s? Because I remember in the 80s, I really remember liking their Defenders of the Faith, Turbo. I remember that all the albums seemed pretty consistent. The image.
I think Turbo. For me, I think Turbo was the turn of Judas Priest, and it even with the vibe, right? Because they should have continued with Screaming for Vengeance and Defenders of the Faith, that kind of graphic style. But then all of a sudden I think they lost their footing after KK Downing left. I mean, at the end of the day, he's no Glenn Tipton. We all know that. However, there was a certain magic between the two. And that magic, I think they all underestimated how important that magic was. And that to me, and it's one of the things that I had on my list here, is the biggest rediscovery of the year was actually KK's Priest. I mean, I've been bombarding you guys with, have you listened to it yet? But and I'm not saying the first album was that great, the second album, but it showed an evolution of what I think Priest should have been today. From where they were and where KK's Priest is now, it's a little heavier, because let's face it, Priest was always a little heavier when they found their original sound with Screaming for Vengeance especially. And that is something that they should have gone and not experiment too far. Turbo, too much synthesizers in there. That's some nice songs, but that's the same pet peeve I have with Dio, for example, in the late 80s, where it became too, and I have the album. Which one is it with the dragon holding the Sacred Heart? There you go. Thank you. While it's a good album, I think if you take all the synth out of it, it would have been a great album, but it just kind of softened and rounded everything in a manner that just was not as what we're used to from metal.
I think the actual song Turbo Lover, though, is a really good piece of
it's not
production and music, even though it's synth generated.
Yeah, but I think if you take the synthesizers out of it, I think it would be even better. But then they went on to
I don't know.
They went on to Painkillers, right? I'm making a big jump here.
Yeah, I didn't like that album.
Well, and
Painkiller is brilliant. I love that album.
It's fantastic. But
that's my top 3.
Yeah, but I will say, so if you look at the Painkiller album, again, the artwork, the logo, everything feels different, right, about Priest. And it doesn't really feel Priest. And while I appreciate musicians wanting to evolve and rediscover things, which is fantastic, they also have to understand that consistency is key. And that's where Maiden is just they're masters of that.
I agree, Michael. But if you talk about what is Painkiller, 1991, so that's just the grunge shit stuff was going out. I mean, what was the Maiden album that came out of that shit? Was it Fear in the Dark?
It was Fear in the Dark.
So.
Yeah, so I mean, Painkiller's album of the year for me, and as you see how the tour, I think that put Priest really back on the map. I think what hit Priest more was the fact that Rob Halford left.
Yeah.
But again, that it's no different than KK Downing and Ian Tipton. They need to be together, right? And then you have, I mean, let's face it, of all the vocalists out there, it's got to be Rob Halford and Ronnie James Dio. I mean, as much as I love Bruce Dickinson, those two, their vocal range is just absolutely insane. They're true metal.
And King Diamond.
What's that?
Yeah.
And King Diamond.
King Diamond, sure. Yeah, but to me, King Diamond, it goes into a different direction from a vocal perspective. It's not the true heavy metal per se. It's more black metal.
It's more theatrical.
But
Tim Ripper Owens, the guy that followed up, he's playing now with KK Downing, right? He's playing with KK.
Yeah, the Ripper.
Yeah. I think he's a fantastic, and he was a really good fit in Priest as well. So those albums, I mean, when you compare it to when was his Blaze Baby followed up on Bruce Dickinson and Maiden, then, I mean, there's like one or two songs that are okay, but the albums I think are pretty weak.
Yeah.
But if you listen to the albums of Tim Ripper Owens in Priest, they're actually really good albums.
Yeah, but he's an amazing vocalist as well. But it's a shame on me when he came into Priest. Again, a little stubborn on my end. I didn't really give him as much attention as they probably deserved. But now, again, with KK's Priest, I'm like, holy buckets! I'm just blown away. I think I shared with you guys. It's the most I've played that album more this year than any other album.
So you drove 16 hours from Phoenix to LA and back again. What, listening to what?
Well,
KK's Priest,
I did listen.
Amyl and
I listened to some KK's Priest, Amyl and the Sniffers. I will say, and again, you guys know that I love punk.
Is it Amyl? Is it Amyl or Amyl?
Amyl and the Sniffers.
See, I think, but didn't they get their name from? Maybe it's just the way you pronounce it, but you had Amyl Nitrate.
No,
yeah?
it's an Australian band, so Amyl and the Sniffers. But I think they're just absolutely brilliant. For me, I've been following them for some years now, but 2025 is when they really came into their own with their latest album, and they've been just playing big stadium concert after stadium concert, and they just are growing.
I think they didn't. They just have the Australian sort of Grammys or whatever, didn't they? I think they won some
a handful of things. Yes, but they're just. It's a fresh new sound. It's like the Ramones were in the 70s, right? They're really giving punk a new kind of sound again. And I think they're just.
And it's real. It's a real vibe. It's not a fake. She's really like that.
Oh, that energy that she has.
It's raw.
I think she is probably the best female frontman so far that I've encountered. I mean, you had Lita Ford, you had other great front women as well, but she just has an energy and aura around her that is. They had to cancel a month or so ago a show, and it was kind of out of there, but they felt really, really bad about it. So they announced it to their fans that, hey, these 3 pubs, we giving them $5,000 each, and you just go drink on us. Have a good time on us.
Wow.
Now, when is the last time that you heard any band ever do that, right? So they're very
Australian.
yeah, they're very down to earth. They're very much into their music, and I think musically they're very talented. I think the drummer is as tight as they come on their songs. I think he's an incredible drummer with like probably the smallest drum kit ever. But doesn't skip a beat at all. The guitar player is solid. The bass player is solid, keeps everybody right on track. And then she has energy galore that is just, so for me, I think they deserve a big bow for 2025. Again, not metal, I'm keenly aware, but still in the rock genre.
Yeah, they're actually playing in the summer here in nearby where I live at the Red Ones.
Oh, is that right?
Are you going to go?
No, I haven't got tickets yet. But,
When is it?
I think it's in June or something like that.
God, that's pretty big. So they're big enough to play Red Rock. That's pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. We may have to talk, Arjan.
Yes.
I know that they played here.
How far away is Phoenix from Denver? Is that drivable or no?
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, you guys know it doesn't scare me to drive a couple of miles, but
No.
That was just so clear. That was for a 30-minute meeting. So I left.
Yeah, weren't you worried about being late? What if you're like half an hour late because of traffic?
No, don't
you have to leave like hours in advance?
So funny story on that one, because there's nothing normal about my life, as you guys know, but I left here at 5 a.m. and I knew that I would land there an hour before. Now I get there and I have to go to the bathroom, but it's through a third-party agency, and we're not allowed to go in. And so I'm like, all right, well.
Hold on, stop! You have to go through a bathroom through a third.
Well, no,
agency.
this is to get my get my Dutch passport renewed, and so you can't just. It's security. You can't just go in. And then they said, well, you have to go to the lobby, and but I was 45 minutes early. No, an hour early. Sorry, hour early, because I thought it was at 11:30, and they're like, well, I'm going to just see if somebody canceled, if I can squeeze in a little earlier, then I can get out of Dodge again, right? Because I was on I had another, 6 hours in the car to go back. Anyhow, they didn't have a cancellation, and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to sit in the lobby downstairs. And he did say, he's like, well, I'll see you at 11. Don't be late. But I'm like, well, my appointment is 11:30. That doesn't make sense. So 11:15 hits. I'm like, all right, let me go make my way up, and because they want you to be there 15 minutes early. So I walk over there, and the security guard sees me coming up, and he's like, hurry. I'm like, hurry? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, your appointment was at 11. I'm like, no, it's at 11:30. So I look at my paperwork and I'm like, you're right, it's at 11. He's like, we have a 15-minute policy that after 15 minutes, you have to reschedule. And I looked at him like, dude, I just drove 6.5 hours. He's like, let me see if I can still squeeze you in. So I'm like, whatever it takes. But they were able to squeeze me in, and that's how I got my stuff done. But
bloody hell.
That's a different story. Let's not bring this up. But I think, I don't know how it is for the UK, Charles, but I have a big bone of contention with the Dutch government on renewing, and that you even have to travel that far to renew a passport. You should be able to, like, the French government allows you to do it completely online. And then,
so same with UK.
Really?
I don't think I've never been to the British Embassy here. It's always just done by mail.
Yeah, no, and I'm actually, I probably shouldn't put this out there. I'm a little worried because they destroyed my Dutch passport, because they're like, well, if you come and pick it up, which means I have to go drive and come back again. Which, by the way, when I came back, I came into Arizona, the 10 was shut down. So I had to go all the way back roads, dirt roads, to come back like 20 miles further down the road onto the 10 again. All in all, it took me about 17 hours to drive to and from for a 30-minute appointment. But so now I'm a little panicking because they need one particular document. This is the second time that I'm renewing after I become a citizen, a U.S. citizen. And the Dutch government is really, really fucking anal about this, which is just absolutely ridiculous, because I want to just slap him and say, you know what? You know how many people I've spoken to and said, hey, you should go visit the Netherlands. People are amazing. The country is amazing. So from a tourism perspective, right, I am always promoting my home country, and I get nothing in return, literally nothing. And then every time I have to do with passport, it's a problem. Typically, I do it when I'm in Holland, but it takes about 2 weeks from, so.
So you got to know when you're going to be
typically we land on a Saturday, and at that day we have to get passport pictures taken. And then on Monday, the first thing, I have an appointment with it's called, a little town called Bergijk. It's right by the Belgian border, because they can handle these kind of passport requests. So I even have to travel a little bit in Holland to get to a particular place. And I already, like, months in advance, have the appointment scheduled in hopes that I can then come back and pick up the passports, because I have to pick them up, and my girls as well, in person. So it's always a challenge, no matter how you twist or turn it. But now they need to see.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Well, they now.
I was going to say, well, you know what? Go on.
They need to see a particular document of my naturalization, and there's some information on there that I'm really fearful that they will say, we're not renewing your passport. So, and that would be absolutely horrific if that would be the case. Because then I will have to get an attorney, and I have to push it back. Yeah. Luckily, my 2 daughters still have a Dutch passport that is valid, so I can hopefully leverage that. But
well, why wouldn't they? Yeah,
the Dutch government is really weird about this.
Very difficult. I'm dreading it. I have to do it in 2028, but I'm really dreading to. And it's already in my mind, you know. Yeah. It's still 2 years that I have to do it.
And that's how crazy it is. I know a lot of Dutch people that dread renewing their passport once they live here or once they become an American citizen. The Dutch government. I know why it is, but it doesn't make any sense at the end of the day.
Arjan, do you have citizenship here then? U.S. citizenship?
No, I'm a green card holder.
Okay, so you're not going to have an issue then, renewing your Dutch
passport.
Well,
I still have to.
You've got to. Yeah, but I still have to go of somewhere.
Yeah, but I still have to do the same process. So even
yeah.
I mean, they will not reject it, but it's still the same process.
Oh, so God, do you know what? I don't even like it when I forget my password on a computer and you have to renew it or change it. That's enough hassle. let alone dealing with anything else, all this red tape. But you know what? The quip I was going to make, actually, probably a bad one. Things are louder across the pond, aren't they?
They are.
So, for sure.
So we have to deal. Right. Well, you know what, guys? On this note, actually, I think we should wrap up for a number of reasons. The main reason being is the adapter into my computer is actually broken. So I'm just running off the computer power. And I'm told I have about 6 or 7 minutes of power remaining. So whether this completely folds, it wouldn't be a very good ending, would it? I'd have to do an edit and say, sorry, my computer went down or something like that.
Yeah.
And also drinking this beer, I need to use the loo. But that reminds me, you know what I was thinking? So the next episode, we want to, hopefully it'll be out on that day or whenever, but we want to review the Megadeth Ride the Lightning thing. But I'm thinking, if we could get hold of some of the Iron Maiden beer and we could open it and drink it.
Oh, that's easy enough. You can just go to a Total Wine.
Yeah. Have you ever tasted it before?
I have.
Have you ever had
I have. And I have.
Forget that.
And I have one in my my other room as well.
Oh, okay. Well, forget that then completely. I didn't realize. I've never actually had it before.
Because
so I don't know
we should still do that. I mean, I'm in a business, so I taste so many different beverages. So, but I think that we should.
Yeah. Well, maybe I could open up a bottle of or can of the Iron Maiden beer and tell you what I think of the Metal Church or what was it?
Creator.
Yeah.
Creator.
Yeah.
Well, and then maybe the next episode we'll also talk about 2026. Because I know that we kind of had like looking back.
Yeah,
but
we
then,
did. Well, yeah, we did actually have a list here with. I actually wrote down the text you sent, Michael, with pretty much word for word, even with a load of notes here. But that's all.
well,
good,
we're
good,
finding out that we want to try to squeeze too much into one episode, and we'll get better at all of this.
Yeah, we'll get sharper.
And there will be a lot less
right.
reverb on my end next time around. Otherwise, I'm just going to put like a big cloth.
Well, as I say, we'll do that magic mastering here, and we'll see what happens. What are you guys up to for New Year's, anyway? Anything exciting?
Chill out.
Well, I found out today because I had to drop my oldest daughter off somewhere, and I see all these big tents with fireworks. I'm like, wait a minute. And so I looked it up, and you can actually do fireworks on New Year's Eve in Arizona. And Arjan, that's a big thing in Holland, although I think it's completely out of control in Holland now. However, I don't
understand. What do you mean? Isn't that just a done thing, fireworks on New Year's Eve?
No. It's
what am I missing?
Holland turns into a complete war zone. I mean, everybody has their own fireworks. And I think it's like 14 million euros of fireworks that is going to be blown up in like a matter of 30, 45 minutes across the country.
Wow.
So wherever you look, there's fireworks. So it's not like a city is putting on a big display. You're all on your own.
I remember being in Switzerland actually on New Year's Eve once, and that was one of the scariest nights of my life, because not only did they let fireworks off, they just, as well as firing them vertically, they fire them horizontally.
Oh, yeah.
So you're like kind of dodging. There's just fireworks coming at you. You're just like, Christ almighty.
I remember, and I'm sure you as well, Arjan, when we were younger, you would get your hands on fireworks, and you had something called strijkers, which is like maybe a little TNT bomb that you just rub against like the side of a matchbook, like we use for like matchsticks, and then it starts sizzling, and you just better throw it away fast because you don't know how quickly it's going to go, and it's really powerful. Oh boy, we would.
Allegedly, you could blow up windows with it,
or put it in mailboxes.
Allegedly.
We never did that, by the way. Never.
No, of course you didn't. So what's going on? So what were you saying? What's happening in Arizona?
Well, you can get fireworks. So I might get some fireworks and go into the driveway and light it all on fire.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we live my 20s again. So if you see me next podcast like this, then it was.
That's funny.
That's ordering 4 beers, right? That's ordering 4 beers.
Hopefully, it won't be like this, or like this, or
just this.
Anyhow, if I don't talk to you, filthy animals, have a wonderful evening. Best wishes for the new year.
Absolutely.
And we'll dial this podcast in even more.
Yeah, let's take it into 2026.
100%.
I reckon.
Awesome.
Or whatever the thing is.
Go for 20 minutes.
All right, guys.
Thank you. Good seeing you as always. Cheers.